Alright, let's get started, shall we? First off on the list is how to make short wefts for like a sort of shaven look on a wig. This is a wig that I've done. It's not perfect, it still needs some work in, but this is the short shaven side. So the way I did this is I didn't actually just make really tiny strands. I used like leftover fluff. You can actually brush it like slightly, and then you pull the fibers, and you're basically just wanting to get some of the fibers, and you tie it in a knot. And then you have a rather small, thin strand. And then you can also, if you want it shorter than this, which usually I do like it shorter than this, you can just pull the strands apart at the end and actually make it shorter. So this is what I did for the shaven side. And whenever you pull it, it actually almost doesn't need to be straightened. It's already pretty smooth, already pretty straight. You can see here, that's what it looks like. Then you would go in and with a needle, you would do the same process where you go through the knot of the middle part and then sew it into the wig, into the mesh. So as you can see, I've actually sewn in really small strands into this mesh, and it's just placed so whenever it lays flat, it's just really short and it layers over itself and works for a sort of shaven brushed look. I have like a lot of fluff saved up in case I ever need to use it, and I just like, if I need strands, I literally just can pull them out and brush them and then tie a knot in the middle. And then brush them again to get what I need. And then can pull them, or I actually have a new tool. I actually have a razor now, made for cutting hair, which does this basically just as well as me just pulling it apart, and doesn't hurt my hands as much. So you can use one of these to make your life easier and make really short cuts that aren't like extremely like this versus, I'm going to make another one right now. You can just reuse stuff. Like if you get a bunch on your brush, you can just take it off and then do it again and reuse it. Like brush it out and then you have more, pull it out, and you can just keep doing that until you run out of fibers. So back to this. We have this. You can cut it. That is an option like that, but the edges are going to be extremely extremely cut. Like they aren't going to just be like a smooth thing. So I like the ends to kind of fall off and not be so sudden. If you want to, you can straighten these. It's just a little bit hard since they're so small. And like I was saying, if you don't have leftover fluff, you can just do this. Alright, so I have this right here, just some gray yarn. It's actually the same color I used for the shave side of this wig. But you can literally just have the ends. I've already kind of done it with this one. But you have the ends. Get your brush all clear of any excess colors of fluff. And you can literally just brush it and brush the fibers out. You just keep doing that. Until you get an okay amount of fluff. I was gonna say this is fine. I have that fluff now, so I can brush the fluff. There's the strands, pull the strands out, tie it, yep, and then brush it again. And we have a strand. And honestly, doing this can be just as good as making a weft. If you just need like some filler in places, this can actually work pretty well though. If you just have like a bunch of fluff and you don't want to go through making a bunch of strands, you can just do this and then straighten it and then sew it in if you just need like a couple. But yeah, that's basically how I do the shaved sides of my wigs. So I hope that was helpful. Alright, so this, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's a hair razor. This one specifically is a From hair razor. It was like $6 on a Sally Beauty Supply. So basically what I'm using this for is kind of in place of scissors. Scissors are good for doing like the main cutting, but like this is good for sort of styling your wig. So for example, this is a little bit choppy because I cut it with scissors. You might not be able to tell too well, but it is choppy. So basically like just going through, I think I'm still learning. I'm still learning all the time I'm doing this. Make the edges like less abrupt. So you can kind of do it like that. I'm getting some hair off of this, so that's good. But if you want to just go in and like grab a choppy piece, like say I don't like the end of this one, I literally just like go through the end and hold it down and like sort of rip it off. And I'm doing this with my finger on the guarded side, not the side with the actual razor on it, because I don't want to accidentally cut myself. But I'm literally just sort of fraying the edges, making it less abrupt on the ends. Like you see this one, just kind of cutting that, fraying that a little bit. So this is definitely a helpful tool. I literally got this like 3 days ago, so I'm still learning how to use it, trying to figure out the best ways. But it's useful. If you're going to get one of these, I definitely suggest, the blade will get dull, so you'll want to buy some extra blades to go in there. The ones I got are Persona hair shaper blades. So there you go, that's what I have. And then this nice little From razor. This is a really good example of just an unstyled wig. It's just no product in it. It's very soft. The fibers can like fly away. So if I just shake this, you can see the hair can get pretty crazy just by itself. Now, before you wear a wig like out and about, you're probably going to want to style it. It will decrease how soft it is. Like, it'll stiffen up the hair, which is a good thing. But it just won't be as soft. But, I mean, what do you want? Do you want this crazy, like, thing to be happening if the wind blows? You probably don't. Here's an example of a wig I just finished. It's for Hollow Jack, Handsome Jack from Borderlands. And so I've styled this. It honestly still needs some work, but for the most part, like, I'm proud of it. It does, I'll be adding more strands into this as time goes on, and adding, like, some more just to make the hairline look better and make sure everything is covered. So this is an example of a styled wig. If I shake this, you can see it move a little bit, but it's still in the shape it's supposed to be. So shaking this up, look at it. It hasn't really changed. Those curls are still up in there. There isn't, it's sticking together, which is, it's what you want. If you can't shake your wig and have it stay, then it doesn't have enough product in it. And you can also just wash this out. If you're using 100% acrylic yarn, which I hope you are, just because that's what I use and that's what I prefer. If you don't, then that's fine, but 100% acrylic can be washed in the washing machine, and you can dry it on really low heat. I wouldn't suggest doing it hot water either, but you can wash this, but then afterwards you'll probably need to re-straighten everything just to make sure that it's not like a mess of floof, because once you do straight wash and dry, it'll be back to like unstraightened. What I used to style this, I got To Be Glued, ultra glued invincible styling gel, and basically I just kind of use this to do like the basic shape and kind of like pinch the edges, and then I used Got To Be Glued lasting freeze spray, and basically you can just spray this on. You'll probably want to have a brush with you while you do this, and then just brush it as you spray it to make sure that it's fine. Some people also like to use a hairdryer while they're doing this, which I don't own a hairdryer, unfortunately, but it can be useful apparently. So basically, just as I'm working, I blast it and then brush it and style it. And I don't know if you can tell, but it is a lot less soft than the other wig, but everything stays where it needs to stay. And you can actually brush the style out of wigs too, but it rips some of the strands out, and honestly I just would prefer to wash it. But yeah, that's this wig. Last but not least, I was gonna show off one of the longer yarn wigs I made. It looks kind of weird right now. It's not styled, but this was for my friend's Steven Universe Amethyst cosplay. Show you the full sort of scale of this. So this is it from the back, but kind of how long. It's a big wig, and it is actually pretty lightweight. So if you're considering like a sort of mane-like wig, I would think that yarn could actually do pretty well. The only thing with this wig though is that it needs a bit more layering. If you notice, like up to like here, like all on the top is actually like using the shorter yarn wig method. Further down, it's all the longer yarn wig method. That process is shown in my first yarn wig discoveries video. If this wig were to be like perfectly done, it would be layered all the way down, so it doesn't look as choppy, because you see like the top part here is a complete disconnect from this middle part, which is a complete disconnect from like this lower bottom part. So there actually is some layering right here, and then there is some layering sort of in this area too, but it just needs more layers. So I would suggest like having a layer here, 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 another one here-ish, another here, 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 here. So like it's not a discontinuous like mess of like layers. You can still like sort of style this and like form it into shapes. So you could style this and then like spray it, but you probably want it to be more layered. Just gonna say that. And here's what the inside part looks like, which should be like facing on your back, but it's very like, it's definitely not the same as the way, how like smooth it is, I guess, on the top, where it's obviously separate. But like for yarn, I don't know, I think it works pretty well for yarn. If you're going to make a wig, then this honestly isn't that bad if all you have is yarn to use. And hey, it's hella lightweight and probably easier to style than a really long wig with actual fibers. So for this being the first attempt ever for a long yarn wig, I think it actually turned out pretty okay. It still definitely needs some work, but it's a wig made out of yarn and it's pretty huge, pretty like massive right here. Just massive hair. So it's possible it doesn't really look the same as the stuff up here is the only thing. So I guess keep that in mind. If anyone has any ideas or luck with using another different method for making longer yarn wig, then hey, I'd love to try it out. Honestly, I love learning about this sort of stuff, but this is how this hair behaves. So that's a thing. And I'd like to thank my roommate for letting me borrow back this wig. We are planning to add more layers into it eventually, but for now, it is how it is.